Dejemos que el invitado hable. Y esto fue una entrevista hecha en México y anduvimos persiguiendo a King Diamond por varias partes para finalmente, gracias también a un equipo en México que nos facilitó la parte técnica, nos mandaron una excelente entrevista y era algo que necesitábamos para abrir el año, aunque obviamente los mexicanos saben que eso fue al cerrar 1996. Lo habíamos guardado y la próxima semana vamos a seguir con especiales del mismo calibre, con Criminal y Korn y todo ese tipo de cosas. Queremos disculparnos por una cosa, aunque no es nuestra responsabilidad en términos de la traducción de lo que está hablando Mr. King Diamond, en donde Mercyful Fate aparece mal escrito y eso nos parece un sacrilegio, aunque la palabra sacrilegio va justamente en la línea de King Diamond. Pero de verdad es un sacrilegio porque jamás nosotros nos atreveríamos a escribir mal Mercyful Fate. Es una religión. Aquí va Mr. King Diamond diciendo primero, ¿qué le pareció Latinoamérica?
Album that really brings Mercyful Fate even closer to what we're all about. I think it's more of the old-fashioned Mercyful Fate, but at the same time there is some new areas that we had not been involving ourselves in before. You know, I've used the voice in some different ways I haven't sung before, you know, and we get into new areas, which I think is very important too, as long as you keep it within the certain frame, because and that'll always be the case with Mercyful Fate and King Diamond, because we've always played straight from the heart. We always write the music straight from the heart. So that means, you know, that we're not going to change overnight and you'll hear us play a punk album next year or something. That's never going to happen, you know. We feel so strongly for what we do, and it's honest. We don't try to be anything we are not, you know. We know what we are, and we're just, you know, a heavy metal band, and that's it, you know. But maybe in a special way, because there's not that many out there today, and there's not that many that have ever done it our way. I think we've had a very unique, special sound always. There is no two bands out there, I think, that sounds like Mercyful Fate or King Diamond. I don't think so. Argentina was very good. It was a surprise, because it was first time ever for Mercyful Fate and for King Diamond. And we had no idea what to expect. We didn't think, you know, well, there might be some people there, but to get that response, and it was packed in there, and they knew every word to every song, you know, just hearing them sing along, it was like, it really does something special to your heart, you know. It's a feeling that's very hard to describe, and it's not the last time we've been there, for sure, you know. And again, you know, Mexico City, we've never been here. We've been in Tijuana once, so that's, but, you know, the border to San Diego, that's the only time we've been in Mexico, but that was good. That was really good. So I hope it's going to be great here too. The next thing that will happen will be a European tour for Mercyful Fate, starting in February all over Europe, and after that it's probably going to be King Diamond in the USA, with a complete crazy show with Grandma and me burning in coffins and all this crazy stuff, you know. And I'm sure we'll incorporate Mexico too, you know. That should definitely be a part of it. Some big differences would be when you're recording albums, you know, writing songs. Back in the early days, we were more immature, you know, fighting each other a little bit more to get our own songs on the albums. Today we have a totally relaxed relationship about that, you know, and we know who's going to write how much before we start an album. So in a lot of ways we can really feel now that we matured. And we're not the little kids we were in the beginning, you know. So we know what the business is about. We know a lot more about how you record, producing ourselves now, and those are some big differences. And also, you know, touring. You know, we reached another level than back when we started. We were touring in a very rough way in the early 80s, 84, over in the United States. We had $3 a day to live off, and that was like on McDonald's. You know, do you want a pack of cigarettes and a donut today, or do you want a pack of cigarettes and a sundae ice cream? You know, it was just, we had no money at all. You know, it was hard to make the bus go to the next city. We even borrowed money from the mafia in New York to make the bus move. It was, you know, tough times, so we paid our dues, but it's very healthy and very good to have those experiences, because you learn a lot from it, you know. We're still doing King Diamond, you know. So we're doing both Mercyful Fate, and then I do King Diamond as well. So, you know, it's even with King Diamond, it's not just me. You know, it is still a band, you know, and it's Andy LaRock has been in that band ever since we started it, and he's also a co-writing material. So, but it feels with both bands as if we are very much in control because we have artistic freedom, and that's something that is very valuable today. You know, that a record label trusts you so much they say, you do what you want to do, and we will release it. You know, most bands today, they will be told by A&R people, no, we don't like those songs, write some new ones and this and that, and we'll change the sequence of the album. You know, and sometimes bands can't even recognize their own albums. You know, and that's sad because then you take away the creativity in music. And that's why today I think you hear actually a lot of music sounding the same. It's very hard to hear the differences. But that's very good for us that we have that artistic freedom, and we really, you know, appreciate that from the record labels. It's very tough to talk about in a short way because it deals with some very heavy things in society. That's the difference between Mercyful Fate and King Diamond. Mercyful Fate is more, I'd say, spiritual-minded, religious-minded kind of, you know, where King Diamond is more social-minded. Even though you have the occult horror in there, there's a lot of themes from what's going on in today's society. And one of those things that is brought up on that album is child molestation, which makes me want to, you know, it happens everywhere, all over the world, you know. And it's like criminals who, to me, should be put away, you know. Put them on an island where they can kill each other, or make sure they can never have these thoughts again, or get rid of them, you know. You can't have that kind of people there. It's the same as killing a little child when they do that, you know, to a little child. And they are released from prison 6 years later to do what? To go out and do the same again. And that's like a thing I've seen so many cases in Texas, for instance, but I know it's all over the world. And God, I wish somebody could do some more about it, change some of the laws, and you know, really hit hard on at least that part of it, you know. But it's much deeper than that, you know. But that's just hitting the surface of it. Oh, absolutely. That's what's going to happen. I would say late spring next year. King Diamond will start touring the Graveyard. I think it's coming back, you know. It's never died. It's like, you know, a lot of radio stations and stuff like that, they decide very much what a lot of people think. And if they don't hear heavy metal music on the radio, then people think that it's not popular anymore. But there is so many fans out there still, you know, that love heavy metal and come to the shows. And so it will never die, but it'll come back even stronger, I'd say. You know, it has never died, but it'll be stronger and stronger, I think. There is a trend now that I feel when I talk to people that they're beginning to get a little bored with hearing all those bands that sound the same and the same and the same and the same and the same, you know, and they like to get some more variety in the music, you know, and some more attitude in the bands. The Latin American fans, they're like everybody else, you know, completely, and even more surprising, I'd say, because you don't expect, for instance, in Brazil, you know, and it goes for Argentina, as I told you before, but also in Brazil, where they don't, they speak Portuguese, right? And very few people understood English. But when we played the show, they were singing along with every single song, you know, and that blew my mind away. I couldn't believe it. And they're so into what we're doing, you know, and it's hard to explain, but it's a very special feel you get. And it's like, you know, when they sing along and they do, you say, do this, do that, you know, and they do it, it's like, oh, yes, you know, it's hard to describe, but it's such a cool feeling.